All right, guys, we're back with more proportions. Today we're talking about percent of change. Again, it's nice because we're dealing with percents, which is going to make one side of your proportion really easy. And the other side, you've just got to find the pieces that match up with the percent. So first of all, percent of change. Really, it's what it sounds like. It's the percent that something changes. So for example, in the problem here, it says that Stan went from 18 miles per gallon to 22 miles per gallon. I don't really know how a person changes gas mileage, but we'll go with the problem here. So he started at 18, but then he changed to 22. And what we get asked a lot of times is, what was the percent of his change? And again, that's all it is. It's what is the percent that he changed, that his number changed, that the amount changed. So obviously, with your definitions up here, a number can increase, which makes it a percent increase, or a number can decrease, which makes it a percent of decrease. Numbers can go up or they can go down. So that kind of, I think, is a little bit obvious if you just look at it the right way. But let's set up a proportion. We'll just get right into it. So our formula, the percent of change, is what's going to go on the left-hand side. So up on top is going to be our percent of change. And remember, that doesn't have a percent sign with it. That's just the percent that it changed, the amount of the percent. And because this is a percent, it always goes over 100. Every single time. A percent will never have anything else on the bottom. Otherwise, it's not a percent anymore. That percent makes it over 100, okay? Now, on the right-hand side, this is a habit we're going to try and get into. If this is the percent of change, on the right-hand side is going to be the amount of change. What's nice about these proportions, we can really just change the percent word to amount. So instead of percent of change, this is the amount that something changed. And then on the bottom, we want to be a little bit careful because on the bottom, it needs to be the original amount. A lot of times it's going to give you a new amount and an old amount. And on the bottom, we want the old amount. If that word's easier for you to remember, then you can use the word old. Because that's what we want to know the percent of. We don't want to know the percent of the new number. We want to know the percent of the original number. So percent of change over 100 equals the amount of change over the whole original amount on the bottom. So as far as solving these proportions go, it's basically what we've done already. Stan went from 18 miles per gallon to 22 miles per gallon. We're looking for his percent of change. So we are going to, to kind of start, if it helps you out, we're going to circle the amounts. And what we're really looking for is the original amount and the new amount. And again, if old is easier for you to remember than original, we're looking for the old or the original amount, and we're looking for the new amount. Those are the two numbers that we need to go on this side, which it gives us sometimes. Sometimes it gives us the percent and we have to figure it out. But normally, we're looking for the percent, okay? So I'm going to circle the old and the new. This one is the old. This one is the new. And I know that because it says that Stan went from 18 to 22. So that kind of tells me that this is where he started, this is where he ended. All right. So we are looking for the amount that he changed, that his number changed. So that's step 2. Calculate the amount of change. Now, some of the other teachers, the way they set this up is they take the old amount, subtract the new amount, and da-da-da-da-da. Guys, I don't care how you find this amount. You just need to figure out how much it changed. We went from 18 to 22. Those are kind of nice numbers. The amount that I changed is 4. All right, so that's the amount that I changed. That gives me this number right here. Amount of change is 4. I didn't change 18. I didn't change 22. This is where I started. This is where I ended. I changed 4. So when I set up my proportion, I'm looking for the percent, so I know that that goes over my 100, and I'm putting the amount of change on top. So the amount I changed was 4, and the original amount, the amount that I started at, was 18. So that goes on the bottom. Sorry, not the amount I started at. The amount that Stan started at was 18. Again, a human starting at miles per gallon. I wish it said Stan's car. Maybe we'll write that in. Stan's car, because that makes a little bit more sense. So that was step 3. We kind of worked ahead a little bit. You place the numbers that you labeled in the proportion, and we solve it, which at this point, almost all of you are doing really, really well. So to solve, I just cross multiply and I divide. I take 4, whoops, let me get this where you can see it. 4 times 100, cross multiply, and I divide by what's left, divided by 18. And I get that x is 22.22222. So x equals 22.2 repeating. So I'm going to put the repeat sign. A little bit thing to be careful of with our answer here. If we're looking for the percent, add the percent sign, because that just makes sense. We want to add the percent sign, so 22.2%. And when we're looking for the percent, we really want to know, did it go up 22% or did it go down 22%? So add the percent sign that you're looking for, and we want to add either the word increase or decrease. Because we want to let people know, look, it increased 22% or it decreased 22%. Now I put a hint down here to help you out a little bit, because I was surprised last year that some people had a hard time figuring out the increase and decrease. So to know what you put with this 22.2%, if the amount went down, if the original amount went down, it means that was a change, a decrease. And I put duh here because, you guys, come on. If it decreased, it went down. Duh. If the amount goes up, the change was an increase. It was a percent increase. And again, super duh, guys. If the amount is going up, we are increasing. Okay? So x equals 22.2%. I went from 18 to 22. That means I went up, because 22 is bigger than 18. So that was a 22.2% increase. And that's going to be my answer, okay? All right, so let's try a few of these. I feel like we're kind of doing the same thing over and over again, so hopefully these go pretty quick for you. But let's start with this first one. I'm looking for the original. I'm looking for the new amount. So we started at 50 pounds, and it changed to 35 pounds. I'm looking for my percent, so x over 100 equals, let's see, I started at 50, I went down to 35, so I changed 15. That's the amount that I changed. I'm going to put that on top. I changed 15 pounds, and on bottom, I want my original. And my original amount was 50, because that's where I started. All right? So I started at 50 and I went down 15 pounds. So that goes on top. Now I just cross multiply. I do 100 times 15, and then I'm going to divide that by 50, and I get 30. So my change, x equals 30, and that's a percent, a 30%. Now did I go up or did I go down? I went from 50 to 35, I went down. So that's a 30% decrease. And that's my answer. Okay? All right, number 2. Last week you finished level 2 of a video game in 32 minutes. Today you finished it in 28 minutes. What is the percent of change? Well, I already know I'm looking for percent, so x over 100. Now I'm looking for the amount that I changed. So here's my old amount. Last week we finished in 32 minutes. Today I finished in 28 minutes. So from 32 to 28, that means I changed 4 minutes. That's the amount that I changed. And the original amount was 32. So that goes on top. Now I cross multiply and I divide. 100 times 4 divided by 32 is 12.5. So my percent is 12.5%. And again, I went from 32 to 28, which means I went down. So that is a decrease. a percent decrease. All right, number 3, 12 inches to 36 inches. So there's my original amount. There's my new amount. So I'm looking for my percent. And my original was 12, so that goes on the bottom. And my new amount is 36. Hopefully this isn't like around your waist, because that's a huge increase, right? Our number got a lot bigger. In fact, I went from 12 to 36, so I increased. The amount that I increased was 24 inches. Or maybe this is a really big sandwich and I made my sandwich 24 inches bigger. And in that case, it could be a really good thing. So the amount that I increased, my original amount, now I can just cross multiply and divide. So 100 times 24 divided by 12 gives me 200. So that means that I changed 200%. That was the amount that I changed. And I went up 200%. So that's going to be an increase of 200%, which kind of makes sense. It would be hard to decrease by more than 100%, because if I take away more than everything, then I end up in negatives, and that just doesn't make a lot of sense. So we went up 200%. Number 4, 15 liters increased by 60%. Ooh, I like this one because look, it gives me the percent. So I can put 60 over 100. And then it says that 15 liters increased 60%. So the 15 is my original amount. That's the amount I started with. And I'm looking to see how much I increased on this problem. So we set it up, cross multiply and divide. So 60 times 15 divided by 100 gives me 9. So that means that x is equal to 9. So that is the amount that I changed. And we want to be careful. This one doesn't tell us, are you looking for the amount or the new amount? Are you looking for the amount that we changed or the new amount? In this case, we don't know. So we're just going to stick with 9. That's the x that we found, okay? And number 5, 50 points decreased by 26%. So again, it gives me the percent. That's nice and easy. And 50 points was my original amount, so that goes on the bottom. And I'm looking to see how much I decreased. So cross multiply, divide, 26 times 50 divided by 100, and I get 13. So I decreased by 13, which could be my answer. Or maybe it said, so what's the new amount? If I decreased by 13, that means I started at 50 and I took away 13 and I ended at 37. We're going to stick with this because the problem doesn't tell us anything else, but we can use the amount that we changed to figure out the new amount if we needed to. So you've got 5 problems over here. They look a lot like these problems, so hopefully you took some good notes. Wow, it's been a long day. So give these problems a try. Come show me your work when you're done, and we'll get you to practice.